Welcome to Pastor Andrew's Inspirations. Today we will talk about the biblical city of Arbela. Arbel, or Holler, known in ancient history as Arbela, and also spelled Arbil, Arbel, and Irbil, is the capital and most populated city in the Kurdistan region in northern Iraq. It has about 879,000 inhabitants, and Arbel Governorate has a permanent population of 2,009,367 as of 2015. Human settlement at Arbel may be dated back to the 5th millennium BC, which would make the city one of the oldest continuously inhabited areas in the world. At the heart of the city is the ancient citadel of Arbel and Mudafaria Minaret. The earliest historical reference to the region dates to the 3rd dynasty of of Sumer, when King Shulgi mentioned the city of Arbelam. The city was later conquered by the Assyrians. Arbel became an integral part of the kingdom of Assyria by the 21st century BC through to the end of the 7th century BC, after it was captured by the Gutians, and it was known in Assyrian annals variously as Arbelam, Arbela, and Arbailu. Subsequent to this, it was part of the geopolitical province of Assyria under several empires in turn, including the Median Empire, the Achaemenid Empire, also known as Achaemenid Assyria, Macedonian Empire, Seleucid Empire, Armenian Empire, Parthian Empire, Roman Assyria, and Sasanian Empire, or Assyristan, as well as being the capital of the tributary state of Adiabene between the mid-2nd century BC and early 2nd century AD. Following the Muslim conquest of Persia, it no longer remained a unitary region, and during the Middle Ages, the city came to be ruled by the Seljuk and Ottoman empires. Arbel's archaeological museum houses a large collection of pre-Islamic artifacts, particularly the art of Mesopotamia, and it is a center for archaeological projects in the area. The city was designated as Arab Tourism Capital 2014 by the Arab Council of Tourism. In July 2014, the citadel of Arbel was inscribed as a World Heritage Site. The city has an ethnically diverse population of Kurds, the majority ethnic group, Turkmens, Assyrians, Arabs, Shabaks, Mandaeans, and Armenians. It is equally religiously diverse, with believers of Sunni Islam, Shia Islam, Christianity, Yazidism, Yarzanism, Shabakism, and Mahdiism extant in and around Arbel. The name Arbel was mentioned in Sumerian holy writings of 3rd millennium BC as Arbelum, Arbelum, or Arbilum, which appears to originate from Arbelum. Later, the Akkadians and Assyrians, by a folk etymology, rendered the name as Arbeuli, or Arbeulu, to mean four gods. The city became a center for the worship of the Mesopotamian goddess Ishtar. In classical times, the city became known as Arbela, from the Syriac form of the name. In Old Persian, the city was called Arbela. Today, the modern Kurdish name of the city, Hewler, appears to be a corruption of the name Arbel by a series of metathesis of consonants. The region in which Arbel lies was largely under Sumerian domination from circa 3000 BC until the rise of the Akkadian Empire, which was 2335 to 2154 BC, which united all of the Akkadian Semites and Sumerians of Mesopotamia under one rule. Today, the Assyrian people, a Syriac-speaking community who claim descent from Akkadian speakers, endure as a minority in northern Iraq, northeast Syria, southeast Turkey, and northwest Iran. Their population is estimated to be 3.3 million. Arbel was an integral part of Assyria from around 2050 BC, becoming a relatively important city during the Old Assyrian Empire, 1975 to 1750 BC. Middle Assyrian Empire was 1365 to 1050 BC, and the Neo-Assyrian Empire was 935 to 605 BC, until the last of these empires fell between 612 and 599 BC. However, it remained part of Assyria under Persian, Greek, Parthian, Roman, and Sassanid rule until the first half of the 7th century AD. The Battle of Gaugamela, in which Alexander the Great defeated Darius III of Persia, took place in 331 BC, approximately 1,000 kilometers or 62 miles west of Arbel. After the battle, Darius managed to flee to the city. Subsequently, Arbela was part of Alexander's empire. After the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BC, Arbela became part of the Hellenistic Seleucid Empire. Its populace then gradually converted from the Mesopotamian religion between the 1st and 4th centuries to Christianity, primarily the Chaldean Catholic Church, and to a lesser degree to the Syriac Orthodox Church, with Kira traditionally becoming its first bishop around 104 AD. The ancient Mesopotamian religion did not die out entirely in the region until the 10th century AD. The metropolitanate of Hadyab in Arbela became a center of Eastern Syriac Christianity until late in the Middle Ages. As many of the Assyrians who had converted to Christianity adopted biblical, including Jewish, names, most of the early bishops had Eastern Aramaic or Jewish biblical names, which does not suggest that many of the early Christians in this city were converts from Judaism. It served as the seat of a metropolitan of the Assyrian Church of the East. From the city's Christian period come many church fathers and well-known authors in Syriac. The most notable Kurdish tribe in the region were the Hadbani, of which several individuals also acted as governors for the city from the late 10th century until the 12th century, when it was conquered by the Zengids and its governorship given to the Turkic Bektegnids, of whom the most notable was Gokbori, who retained the city during the Ayyubid era. Yakat al-Hamawi further describes Arbel as being mostly Kurdish populated in the 13th century. As time passed, sustained persecutions of Christians, Jewish, and Buddhists throughout the Ilkhanate began in earnest in 1295 under the rule of Oirat Amir Naruz, which affected the indigenous Assyrian Christians greatly. This manifested early on in the reign of Ilkhan Ghazan. In 1297, after Ghazan had felt strong enough to overcome Naruz's influence, he put a stop to the persecutions. In the Middle Ages, Arbela was ruled successively by the Umayyads, the Abbasids, the Buwayhids, the Seljuks, and then the Turkmen Bigtinid emirs of Arbela from 1131 to 1232. Most notably, Gokbori, one of Saladin's leading generals. They were in turn followed by the Ilkhanids, the Jalirids, the Kara Kayunlu, the Timurids, and the Ak Kanulu, or Kayunlu as pronounced. Arbela was the birthplace of the famous 12th and 13th century Kurdish historians and writers Ibn Khaldun and Ibn al-Mastawi. Arbela and all of Iraq passed into the hands of the Ottoman Turks in the 16th century. Arbela was part of the Musul Vilayet in Ottoman Empire for 400 years until World War I, when the Ottomans and their Kurdish and Turkoman allies were defeated by the British Empire. The modern town of Arbela stands on a tell topped by an Ottoman fort. During the Middle Ages, Arbela became a major trading center of the route between Baghdad and Mosul, a role which is still plays today with important road links to the outside world. Today, Arbela is both multi-ethnic and multi-religious, with the Kurds forming the largest ethnic group in the city, with the smaller numbers of Arabs, Assyrians, Turkoman, Armenians, Yazidis, Shabaks, Circassians, Khaliyas, Iranians, and Mandaeans also extant. The Parliament of the Kurdistan Autonomous Region was established in Arbela in 1970 after negotiations between the Iraqi government and the Kurdistan Democrat Party, or KDP, led by Mustafa Barzani, but was effectively controlled by Saddam Hussein until the Kurdish uprising at the end of the 1991 Gulf War. The legislature ceased to function effectively in the mid-1990s when fighting broke out between the two main Kurdish factions, the Kurdistan Democratic Party and the Patriotic Union of Kurdistan. The city was captured by the KDP in 1996 with the assistance of the Iraqi government of Saddam Hussein. The PUK then established an alternative Kurdish government in Salamania. KDP claimed that on March 1996, PUK asked for Iran's help to fight KDP, considering this as a foreign attack on Iraq's soil. The KDP asked Saddam Hussein for help. The Kurdish parliament in Arbela reconvened after a peace agreement was signed between the Kurdish parties in 1997, but had no real power. The Kurdish government in Arbela had control only in the western and northern parts of the autonomous region. During the 2003 invasion of Iraq, a United States Special Forces task force was headquartered just outside Arbela. The city was the scene of celebrations on April 10, 2003, after the fall of the Ba'ath regime. During the coalition forces' occupation of Iraq, sporadic attacks hit Arbela. Parallel bomb attacks against EID celebrations killed 109 people on February 1, 2004. Responsibility was claimed by the Ansar al-Sunni and stated to be in solidarity with Ansar al-Islam. A suicide bombing on May 4, 2005 killed 60 civilians and injured 150 more outside a police recruiting center. The Arbela International Airport opened in the city in 2005. In 2015, the Assyrian Church of the East moved its seat from Chicago to Arbela. Arbela International Airport is one of Iraq's busiest airports and is near the city. Services include direct flights to many domestic destinations, such as Baghdad International Airport. There are international flights from Arbela to many countries, such as the Netherlands, Germany, Saudi Arabia, Austria, Turkey, Jordan, and many more flights elsewhere around the world. There are occasionally seasonal flights from Arbela International Airport. Arbela International Airport was briefly closed to international commercial flights in September 2017 by the Iraqi government in retaliation for the Kurdish independent vote, but reopened in March 2018. Another important part and form of transportation between Arbela and the surrounding areas is by bus. Among others, bus services offer connections to Turkey and Iran. A new bus terminal was opened in 2014. Most of Kurdistan's transportation is with local taxis, which are operated by private companies and also managed by the government of Kurdistan. Arbela has a system of 5 ring roads encircling the city. Arbela has a Mediterranean climate, Köppen climate classification, with long, extremely hot summers and mild winters. Summer months are extremely dry, with little to no precipitation occurring between June and September. Winters are usually wet and humid, with January being the wettest month. The citadel of Arbela is a tell or occupied mound in the historical heart of Arbela, rising between 82 and 105 feet from the surrounding plain. The buildings on top of the tell stretch over a roughly oval area of 1,410 feet by 1,120 feet, occupying 102,000 square meters or 1,100,000 square feet. It is being claimed that the site is the oldest continuously inhabited town in the world. The earliest evidence for occupation of the Citadel Mound dates to the 5th millennium BC and possibly earlier. It appears for the first time in historical sources during the Ur-3 period and gained particularly importance during the Neo-Assyrian Empire, 10th to 7th centuries BC. West of the citadel at Arikon Quarter, a chamber tomb dating to the Neo-Assyrian period has been excavated. During the Sasanian period and the Abbasid Caliphate, Arbela was an important center for Assyrian Christianity and the Assyrians. After the Mongols captured the citadel in 1258, Arbela's importance began to decline. During the 20th century, the urban structure was significantly modified, as a result of which a number of houses and public buildings were destroyed. In 2007, the High Commission for Arbela Citadel Revitalization was established to oversee the restoration of the citadel. In the same year, all inhabitants except one family were evicted from the citadel as part of the large restoration project. Since then, archaeological research and restoration works have been carried out at and around the tell by various international teams and in cooperation with the local specialists, and many areas remain off limits to visitors due to the danger of unstable walls and infrastructure. The government plans to have 50 families live in the citadel once it is renovated. The only religious structure that currently survives in the citadel is the Mullah Afandi Mosque. When it was fully occupied, the citadel was divided in 3 districts, or mahallas, from east to west: the Sarai, the Takia, and the Tapkana. The Sarai was occupied by notable families. The Takia district was named after the homes of dervishes, which are called Takias, and the Tapkana district housed craftsmen and farmers. Other sites to visit in the citadel include the bathing rooms, hammam, built in 1775, located near the mosque, and the textile museum. Arbela Citadel has been inscribed on the World Heritage List on June 21, 2014. The covered Arbela Quaisari bazaars lying below the main entrance to the citadel and stocking mainly household goods and tools. The 36-meter high, 118-foot Mudafaria Minaret, situated in Minaret Park, several blocks from the citadel, dates back to the late 12th century AD, and the governor of Arbela, in the reign of Saladin, Muzaffar al-Din Abu Sayyid al-Kawaburi, known as Gokbori, who had entered in the obedience of Saladin without war and married his sister. It has octagonal base decorated with 2 tiers of niches, which is separated from the main shaft by a small balcony, also decorated. Another historical minaret with turquoise glazed tiles is nearby. There is also Sami Rahman Park, Franzo Hirar Stadium. The mound of Qualish Aga lies within the grounds of the Museum of Civilization, 6.62 miles from the citadel. An excavation in 1996 found tools from the Halaf, Ubaid, and Uruk periods. There is also the Kurdish Textile Museum. The local major football team in Arbela Soccer Club, which plays its football matches at Franzo Harir Stadium, named after the assassinated Assyrian politician, formed governor of Arbela City, Franzo Hariri, which is based in the south part of central Arbela. Arbela football team wins 3 Iraqi Nation League and reached the AFC final twice, but lost both times. Now the media in Arbela consists of Babylon FM, Ishtar TV, Canal 4, Kurdistan 24, Kurdistan TV, Kurdmax Pepuli, Kurdsat, Net TV, Ruda Media Network, the Ava Entertainment, the Korek TV, iStar, iStar Sport, iStar Koran, and the New Line HD. Arbela is very well known for a style of Kurdish heron, with many singers who long served to improve the art form in the region, and left a long legacy that is rich with many famous songs, singers such as the 3 brothers Osman, Kader, and Hazan Karen. Many other modern art forms have emerged in the area, such as rap, breakdance, and slam poetry. Other art forms like traditional singing in small circles is very famous in Arbela. Singers like Karwan Kabadi, Awat Bakani, Farman Balana, and Kader Bagalasi, who are prominent names and perform 3 to 5 times a week at private and public events. These folk singers make up to $10,000 a session in Arbela, while in other cities they could make $1,000. Therefore, they try their best to make a name for themselves in Arbela. And thus, this is the biblical city of Arbela, from what it was then to what it is now. Thank you for listening. May God's blessings be upon you, and please watch more videos and click subscribe to see the new ones. Bye for now.